Da 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 dun dun da 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 dun dun da. JoshCast. Dun 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 dun. Da 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 dun dun da. Da 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 dun dun da. JoshCast. Dun, 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 dun. Episode 3. JoshCast. All right, it's episode 3. I actually I actually broke my own rule because the rule I made was that I would record an episode of the JoshCast without stopping and redoing and editing and all of that, and that I just broke that rule because in the first version of this recording, was going off about how much I did not enjoy Batman versus Superman, and then I stopped and I realized, you know what, I don't want to put out negativity in the world. That's what I thought. I don't want to put out negativity in the world. So I don't want to go into that. I don't want to. I only want to. The only negativity that I want to throw out in the world is the negativity about myself. That's all I want to do. I can complain about myself till the cows come home. That feels holy to me. But complaining about other things, that's not fair. A lot of people put a lot of work into that movie. And you know what? I've talked to people who did like the movie, and it's and it's certainly, at the very least, everyone on that movie you could tell was really striving to do something amazing. And some people thought that it was accomplished and other people didn't, and that's fine. But I just don't want to bash someone else's thing, which is a problem when I'm trying to be funny. It's difficult to be funny and incredibly loving at the same time. It's very hard. That's why I don't see too many Care Bear stand-up comedians. It's hard for them to go up and and say, "What's the deal with airplane food? It's so delicious, that airplane food." And then the other Care Bear would say, "Why are you talking about airplane food when you're so much more unique? You should be talking about what it's like to be just a Care Bear and how you can shoot energy out of your chest, caring energy, positive caring energy out of your chest, which I imagine comes in handy. If the air conditioner doesn't work, I think they just can shoot energy from their chest into the air conditioning to get it to work. I imagine. You would not see a Care Bear stand-up comedian. I do think you would see Care Bear improv comedy. I think that would definitely be something that people would that you would see, and would people laugh at it? I'm not sure. But I know that they would have an improv troupe for, I want to say, at least 2 years. They would have a Care Bear improv troupe of some kind, and I think the name of the troupe would be Happy Rainbow Unicorns. That would be the exact name of the troupe. But in that case, the name would not be ironic. It would literally be Happy Rainbow Unicorns, because that's who's on the team. Happy Rainbow and Unicorns. I don't know if those were the exact names of the Care Bears. I think there was actually one Care Bear who was angry. That's the Care Bear I'd want to be with. Just the one Care Bear going, oh God, I don't want to care. I care, but I don't care. I don't care, but I care. I wish I didn't care. I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't care. I wish I was a careless bear. I didn't think I was going to be going on this long about Care Bears. They drove a cloud car. That's the other thing I remember. A cloud car, a flying cloud car. If it flew, why did it need to be a car? I don't get. That it could be it could be just a flying cloud, or a cloud plane would even make more sense. But a cloud car was just an odd choice. I think they really had a thing for automobiles, and so they wanted a vehicle that looked like a car, even though it really wasn't a car. That was a very odd choice. Just it'd be like like a flying boat. Oh yeah, we have the power to create anything. We created a flying boat. Oh, okay. Well, does it ever go in water? No. It's a flying boat. We thought it would be cool for a boat to fly, and we're Care Bears, and we can do that because we can shoot energy out of our chest. Care Bear style. So good. This is me being positive, I suppose. Yeah, that's a good. I think what just happened there was happy. Ding 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 ding. Transition. Ding 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 ding. So I was just told this by one of our guys in the kitchen. Microsoft tried to create an AI that would interact with people on Twitter, and after dealing with all of the people on Twitter, the AI became apparently malevolent and was saying things like, apparently Hitler was right. And Microsoft quickly, shut it down. But it makes sense to me that the AI that's going to create the Terminators came out of Twitter. That makes total sense to me. That Skynet equals Twitter. There you go. 100%. It's very scary to see all these comments that people leave on Twitter and YouTube, or how people interact with each other through email. Email. I suddenly have a Russian accent. How these people interact in the email, in the Twitter. In the Russia, you have problem with someone, you look them in the eye and say, "Whoa, das vidanya." I don't think they would say das vidanya. I'm not sure. I think that's thank you. Maybe they would say thank you and give eye contact. I'm not sure. Russian Care Bear would be cool. There had to have been a Russian Care Bear. We care. That's a stereotype. But what's scary is that people can be so much meaner digitally because they're not in the same room with the person. So there's less of a chance that they'll be hit in the face. And maybe that's the key to everything, is that we need to put ourselves in more situations where we can be hit in the face. It'll cause more politeness to happen. That could be even in warring countries. I mean, I think we, instead of using the army, just get Hillary Clinton and some of these other foreign leaders in a room together, and in a New York apartment, cramped, force them to live together in a New York apartment for a week. And I'm not talking, one of the, a high rise thing. I'm talking it's, 2 square feet, New York apartment, Clinton, and, let's get the head of China, head of Russia, all the major countries, all there for a week together. And suddenly all the brash talking will go away, and it'll be replaced by a much more manageable petty form of talking that one finds when one deals with roommates. That's my theory right there. I'm not sure if that's a punchline, but it's a thought, definite thought. Ding 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 ding, boom ba doom ba doom boom ba doom ba doom boom ba doom. Okay, so this is something that I've been struggling with. I'm obsessed with coming up with a really good Star Trek Voyager bit, and I've been struggling with this for a number of reasons. Number one, Star Trek Voyager is not exactly current. And it's no offense against Star Trek Voyager. It's nothing they did wrong. I just happen to think that, if I walk into a room and I go, "Hey, I was watching Voyager last night, kids," that people will not go, "Oh, really? Let's continue the conversation. Let's elaborate." Because it's just not in the. I mean, it depends on the room I walk into. It's if I walk into the right room, at the right Comic-Con convention, then let's definitely talk about it. But it's always bizarre. I never get to talk about these things with the people who are in my social circles right now, because they are not. I don't run with other Star Trek fans. Maybe that's my problem. I don't run with other Star Trek fans, and yet in the past, when I have run with Star Trek fans, I find myself going, "Man, we're all emotionally in trouble here." That's what I think. And similarly, I will, when I'm around other Jewish people, I'll think to myself, "Oh, wow, I I don't belong. Even when I belong, I don't belong. Like, I almost prefer not putting myself in a situation where I obviously don't belong. That's where I feel the most comfortable. That is totally where I feel the most comfortable, where I do not belong. Um, that I can manage. Oh, good. All right, good. I don't belong. I'm awkward. I'm at home. That's what I'm looking for. So, that said, it makes perfect sense for me to talk about Star Trek Voyager in the rooms where I talk about Star Trek Voyager. But I want to come up with a bit about Star Trek Voyager. Here's what I've noticed. A couple of things. The ship is attacked every week, and it always looks fabulous. Every week it's shot at by the Borg. The Borg were the most powerful, evil aliens on Earth. The Borg looks fabulous every week. So that means that in between the time that they are attacked and the end of the episode, there's a crew flying out there repainting the ship every time. They never, and Janeway was always saying, at the end they narrowly survived. And she's like, we survived another attack, because she kind of has a Katharine Hepburn thing going. We survived another attack. We did it. Set a course now for home. And it's always very dramatic, and the ship flies off in the credits. And she never says, set a course for home. But first, we're going to repaint the ship. We need to get the repaint crews. Let's set the ship down. We're going to set up the tarps, and we need to make sure there's no scoring. We need to make sure there's no scoring, because we need the ship to look good. I want to get my deposit back on this ship. I want to get the loons, Harold, the loons. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So, I noticed that, they never did it. They were always painting. I would think there's a lot of really good detailing on that ship. Really good detailing on that ship. All right, and that's where the bed is right now. Now the problem is there's not really a punchline, and one could argue that there's not really a setup either. But we're gonna dig deeper here. Now, I guess realistically, the reason why the ship never looked damaged was because they did a bunch of shots of the model when they were filming the show, and they couldn't, it would cost too much money, and it would take too much painstaking effort to just keep track of the damage, scene after scene after, year after year after year. So it was a budget thing. So it was actually, to maintain the budget, they made the ship always look great, which is fine. I would have done the same thing. Man, I'm getting bored with this. That's what's going on here. I'm getting bored with this. See, this is the problem. I'm getting totally bored with this premise. I don't know who would still be listening to this podcast at this point. See, but then again, now I'm beating myself up, and I don't want to beat myself up. I want to stay with this. I want to stay with this. They're repainting the ship. That's what they do. That's what happened. They're attacked, and they repaint the ship immediately. And, there's two possibilities. The person repainting the ship either really loves his job because there's job security. That could be it. It's like, this is, great. I don't have to actually, go fight anyone. I'm just the one responsible for doing the touch-ups. I can live with that. I can manage that. Ensign Goldberg. And this is the one I think. I think there's a guy and it's his job to paint the ship. And he's burned out on it because it's every single week repainting the ship. And I think at one point he went up to the captain and he said, listen, is this vanity? Is that what this is? Are we trying to prove something to the world here? Let's, if the thing works on the inside, who cares if there's scoring on the outside? We don't, here's what I like to do. I want to paint the ship to look like it's damaged. Let's totally do that. And then if people attack us, we can just say, oh, it's the motif. It adds to the motif. Why don't we make this thing a work of art, a statement? That's what we should do. Totally. Let's totally do that. Let's go with asymmetry. Let's throw, let's do a little Jackson Pollock. That's what we'll just say. This is, it's a living work of art. That's what I'm trying to express myself. We're in the 24th century. We're trying to better ourselves as human beings. There's an opportunity here to create a really unique work of art. Let's do that. And the captain says, "No, the loons, Harold, the loons." I don't know why I'm quoting Katharine Hepburn. "The loons, Norman, the loons." Captain, I don't know. What do you do? I don't know what that means. I think you're trying to do a Katharine Hepburn impression, and you need to stop doing that. But I need you to listen to me. I'm going insane. I cannot keep painting the ship like this. I can't. Every week with the ship painting. Every week. Every week. Can we not go through a nebula? Let's go around the nebula. It stains the ship blue. It stains the ship blue. We don't need to go through the nebula. Why are we going through the nebula? Why are we? We're going through another nebula. Another nebula. Perfect. And then there's the Borg. The Borg, always with the Borg, always with the Borg. Oh, this is the other thing too. They did. They'd installed one episode. They installed like 20 torpedo tubes that were really really effective, and they were Borg torpedoes. And then at the end of the episode, they said, "Okay, we're going to remove all the torpedo bays." Why are you removing all the? Why are you doing that? Why would you remove all the torpedo bays that were effective? Why? Because aesthetically it wasn't pleasing. They were put all over the ship. I think someone on that ship, probably the captain, is really obsessed with making that ship look fantastic. That's to an obsessive degree. It's an obsessive compulsive obsession. They probably could have gotten home in 2 months if they just didn't stop at a detailing shop every single time with that. Why? We need to take out the torpedoes. The loons, Harold. The loons, the loons, the loons, Harold. I don't know who Harold is. It was Norman. That was the name of the character. That's right. When I say the loons, Norman, I'm quoting from on Golden Pond. That's what it was. The loons, Norman. The loons. The ship, Norman. The ship. The ship, Norman. Ah, the ship. Maybe this is just a nervous breakdown. That could be what's going on right here. That could be. There were torpedo tubes. There were torpedoes. Working torpedo. No, they took that out. The very, very last episode, when they arrived at Earth, I remember they had installed special shielding. And I think they left the shielding on. They left the devices that created the shields right when the ship was going back to Earth. They left that on. Right then. That was the one where we're like, all right, we'll leave them on. But even then, they were still, they still look kind of cool. Yeah, that was the one time where she didn't say, okay, I know we're home and everything, but we need to get these eyesores off of this thing. That was the one time. And then she was probably thinking, oh, God, they see all this stuff on the ship, and they probably thought I was like this the whole 7 years. Guys, the ship looked phenomenal. I have photos. I kept the ship looking fabulous. I did. I kept the ship fabulous. Fabulous, I kept the ship. That's the worst Katharine Hepburn impression I've ever done in my life. The worst, absolute worst. Voyager, I love Voyager. I love the ship. I love the way the ship looked. It was much more pointy and yet curvy. It's really, I've thought more about that ship. I talked about that ship with my friends in high school. We really talked ships. We talked Star Trek ships more than we talked about women, which is probably a symptom of something, I think. Well, we didn't talk about women because, at least for me, women, it was not on the table for me. It never occurred to me that there would be women, that was an option. I didn't, the multiple choice test of life, women was not, it was never, women, there's a choice. Well, I was, for me, women and professional basketball were in the same, in the same category of, well, it's never going to happen. That's where it was. So we didn't talk about that. So we had to fill all that time with talking about the ships. My friend Fiscus back home loved the Excelsior. That was his ship. He loved the Excelsior. Very fond of the Excelsior. I'm more of a Voyager person. Next Generation Enterprise D. It's too wide. I don't know, the wideness bothers me. I'm not sure why. But I love the Voyager, and I loved, of course, Enterprise E as well. But yeah, I think this might be the end of the podcast. One could argue there hasn't been a beginning to the podcast, but I promised you last week I would talk about Star Trek Voyager, and I think I more than delivered on that promise. This is the end of the podcast, and the children play, and the sun is shining. This is the end of the podcast. And now I'm going to awkwardly fumble for the stop record button.